All right, on this section, I'm going to show you how to solve a system by using elimination. So we could solve this system by graphing. We could graph both of those lines and find where they cross just like we did before. But another option is to solve by elimination, which is probably my favorite way to do it, my preferred method. I want you guys to get good enough at all three methods so that you can pick whichever one is best for that situation. So if we were to add these two equations together, negative 5x and positive 5x would cancel out to be 0. So we would eliminate the x. 10y minus 8y is positive 2y, and negative 30 and a positive 28 is negative 2. So if I divide by 2, I get y equals negative 1. So because I had a negative 5x and a positive 5x, I could add the equations together, and then I'm left with an equation that just has a y in it. So once I know what the y is, I can plug that into one of the equations and solve. So if I plug it in the bottom one, it doesn't matter which one you plug in. So I have 5x minus 8 times negative 1 is equal to 28. So 5x plus 8 is equal to 28 because a negative times a negative is a positive. Subtract 8 from both sides and you get 5x equals 20. Divide by 5 and you get x equals 4. Therefore, the solution to this xy is 4, negative 1. Make sure you put it in the correct order. So if you, and by correct order, I mean xy. You know, ordered pairs are x, comma, y. So if you were to graph both of these lines, they would cross at 4, negative 1. Now over here, if we add them together, we would get 17x plus 22y. Nothing would cancel out. But I have a positive 11y and another positive 11y. So if I were to just multiply one of these equations by negative 1, I would get negative 8x minus 11y equals negative 2. And then if I multiply, or if I leave the bottom one the same, I have 9x plus 11y is equal to negative 6. Now if I add them together, those cancel out. Negative 11 plus 11 is 0. Negative 8 plus 9 is 1, so I have 1x, and negative 2 plus negative 6 is negative 8. So x is equal to negative 8. Once I know what x is, I can figure out what my y is. You can plug it back up into the original or one that you've I multiplied this one by negative 1, it doesn't matter. So if I plug it back into the original, I would have 8 times negative 8 plus 11y equals 2. So that is a negative 64 plus 11y is equal to 2. Add 64 to both sides and you get 11y is equal to 66. So divide by 11 and y is equal to 6. So that means my answer is negative 8, positive 6. Now, sometimes it's not that easy. You know, this one, all we have to do is multiply by a negative 1. On this one, the 5 and the 7 is not very close together at all. I can't multiply something by 5 to get 7, but 11 and 22 is pretty close. If I multiply 11 by 2, I get 22, and I need it to be a positive 22 because that's a negative 22. So if I multiply the bottom equation by negative 2, I get positive 22x plus 14y and a negative 60. The top one I'm going to leave the same. It's negative 22x minus 5y equals negative 2. So my x's cancel out. Negative 22 and positive 22. 14 minus 5 is 9. So I have 9y. Oh, that's a 21, not a 2. Okay, that's good. I think this is not going to work. So there's a 21 there. There we go. And so now when I put this together, I get a negative 1. By the way, that reminds me, you're going to get integers on all these problems. With a 2 there, I was going to end up with 62 divided by 9, which is a fraction. You're going to get integers on all of these. It's very possible to get fractions as answers, but I'm not going to give you ones where you get fractions right now. So if I divide that by 9, I get y is equal to negative 9. Now I need to plug negative 9 in for y, and be careful because sometimes the first letter you get is an x, like over here, the first one we got was an x, so we plugged it in for x. Here, the x is canceled, we got a negative 9 for y, so make sure you plug that in for y. So if I start with negative 22x minus 5 times negative 9 equals negative 21, Then I get negative 22x, oops, sorry, can't see that very good, plus 45 equals negative 21. So subtract 45 from both sides. Negative 22x will equal negative 66. Divide by 22, and x will equal positive 3. So my answer is positive 3, negative 9. Okay, last one. On this one, I can't multiply something by 3 to get 5, and I can't multiply something by 4 to get 7. So I've got to multiply both equations by something. So it doesn't matter which one. We could choose to get rid of the x's, in which case I would need to get them to 15 and negative 15. I'd multiply the top by 5 and the bottom by 3. I could multiply the second equation by 4 and 7 and get it to a negative 28. Either one is perfectly fine. So if I multiply the top by 5 and the bottom by 3, I get 15x plus 20y is equal to negative 40. And then the bottom equation becomes negative 15x minus 21y is equal to 33. So that cancels. 20 minus 21 is negative 1y. Negative 40 plus 33 is negative 7. So that means y is equal to positive 7. If you divide by a negative 1, you get y equals 7. So if I plug that into the original, I have 3x, because remember I can choose any one. Top one, bottom one, this one after I've multiplied, or this one after I've multiplied, doesn't matter. So if I go back to the original top one, I get 3x, and then y is 7, so plus 28 equals negative 40. So 3x is, if I subtract 28, I get negative 68. That does not seem right. So that's a negative 7. You probably see my mistake. You probably noticed it while I was doing it. Negative 1, that's a positive 7. 3x plus 28 is negative 8, not negative 40. So then when I move the 28 over, I get negative 36, and x is equal to negative 12. That looks a lot better. Again, you got to be very careful with your steps on here. You know, I can tell you that I made that mistake just to see if you'd catch it, but you probably won't buy that. But it's very easy to be thinking about something and write down the wrong number. So be very careful as you're doing these problems. So my ordered pair here then is negative 12, positive 7. Okay, so that finishes my examples on elimination. The next video will be substitution.